A flowing river never goes stagnant. Your body is the same way. It needs oxygen and nutrients, and to keep your cell bath, your lymphatic fluid, well, your interstitial fluid that turns into lymphatic fluid when it enters your lip. It's the internal cleansing and nourishment system for your body. So it's just vital to keep everything flowing and moving for health.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Krista Buccari, the Touch-Based Beauty Alchemist. Welcome to the show, Krista. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for sharing your space with me and for asking me to join. It's such an honor. I'm thrilled.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing. I am super excited for this conversation because I know you can bring so much wisdom, beautiful wisdom, like literally beautiful, because we are going to talk about beauty and beauty alchemy and so on. So, the first question I have to you is, how did you start your journey? What has inspired you to go on this specific path to become a beauty alchemist?
Thank you for asking. It was kind of a winding road. It sort of happened from most things that, most catalysts for people in their healing journey is from a place of somewhere that they have struggled before and them growing through that journey and through their own healing process, making discoveries that actually make that journey a gift, something that you thought was more of you know, a a detriment at the time actually became the greatest gift to you. So when I was, may sound somewhat unrelated, but this is what brought me into massage therapy and working with the body. So when I was very young, I was 16 years old. I actually got a breast reduction, and I like to say that's where my journey started because that's where I started to really learn about the body. And I did it for physical reasons, but also psychological reasons and spiritual reasons. I was just feeling very vulnerable at the time, and it was my way of empowering myself at the time as a very young person who just felt vulnerable. And so that was fine for many years. I think I grew from it, and then years and years later I started having issues in my body with scar tissue formation. I had issues with being comfortable physically in my body. The scar tissue was causing a lot of pulling because your fascial system is one continuous system. It surrounds every cell in your body. And when you have an injury, such as a surgery, it creates a pulling like process and creates some tension in your body that can be very painful and also very emotional. So later in my 20s, this pain started to come out, and this emotional pain started to come out. And I had this feeling of, what have I done? I think that there was a deep self-rejection happening, and also just not feeling whole in my body at the time. And so all this unresolved stuff started to come up. And through the scar work, me trying to, fix my scars or trying to fix and control the scars and get rid of them and eliminate them, I actually started to seek body work and therapies. So I learned about gua sha, which is scraping of a tool on the skin to help stimulate the skin, release heat and stagnation in the tissues, and also help to increase flow and hydration, which is so important for fascial reintegration. And I started doing this in a way that was actually very aggressive, and that wasn't helping. It was making my scars worse. It was making my connection to my body worse, because it was a way me trying to control and fix the issue, quote unquote, was not the road to the love I was looking for. So I, through some gift, found myofascial release, and I was working with a therapist, and she was holding my head and cradling my head in a way that was just so had so much presence and so much love that I felt my body unravel. And she was holding my head, and I felt my legs unravel and unwind, and I felt decompression in my hips, and I felt this wholeness and stillness and a place within myself that had never been traumatized, that had never had that transcended my human experience of pain and trauma and physicality and obsession and And through that process, I realized that touching the head and the face and was like a direct line into the nervous system. So I experienced this alchemy in my body and this connection. And I started to learn about tissue and how adaptable and changeable and responsive and intelligent our tissue is. And so through this work, I decided, I'm like, all right, I need to leave my job. I need to this is all that matters. I have to do something like this. So I went to massage school and I just kept on being drawn to tissue rejuvenation and regeneration and conscious choice within your body and the ability to heal. And I started to see the emotional, physical connection and the energetic connection, spiritual connection to between our nervous system, our bodies and ourselves, and how to integrate that through touch and presence and consciousness. And I learned that when you focus on a body with complete attention, your own body or someone else's, the body begins to change. And I started to apply this to my love of the face and head work, being, that being the central gateway to the nervous system for the whole system, the whole body. And I started realizing that all the tension and trauma in people's systems were manifesting on their face. And this is a long story. I'm trying. Actually, it's way longer, but I'm condensing it. So, uh, all of the manifestations of your history are in your entire body, in your fascial system, energetically, physically, but also especially in the face. And it was like a shortcut to really access those points. And I was learning that I can reshape tissue by and re-educate it by releasing, by helping the person facilitate their own release and release tension and trauma and blockages that are creating stagnation, dullness, contortion of the facial tissues. And it was like, people started to bounce out of my treatment room feeling like teenagers and with a totally lifted and sculpted face. And it was like so much deeper than the beauty aspect, but it was inseparable. So it's like the liberation you feel in your body and the connection that you have with this renewed countenance that is like, a youthful, and by youthful, I mean not riddled with, history and um, self perceptions. It's like this clean slate in a way. It was just such a freeing, beautiful practice, and I'm still on the journey of it. But that's really what brought me to the work, is my own disconnection from myself and seeking to fix, quote unquote, and then finding something way more important than what I thought I was seeking. And
Oh.
now here I am.
That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful story. And so many times, if someone becomes a coach or a healer, their own journey and their own suffering brings them to that, because they're like, oh, I figured it out. This has helped me. So how about I just now help others to do the same? So it's really, really beautiful. And so that brings me to this
Totally.
question of beauty alchemy, because I know that you do it through touch, movement, intention, and flow. And I would like you to go deeper into like, what does beauty alchemy mean in your definition, of course, and how you do it in this way.
Yeah, great question. I think that I'm a practitioner of the beauty way, and seeing the beauty in all things. Seeing the beauty in the gifts that maybe felt like they weren't gifts at the time, the things that are hard to accept, and holding yourself in presence through those times to really become closer to yourself through times of difficulty and disconnection, like finding, surrendering into that. And so I think of beauty alchemy as a way of life, a way of integrating your experiences to be the whole person that you are. So having reverence for your experiences, having reverence for whatever's showing up in your body or on your face specifically. I always say through flow, because your lymphatic system and your fascial connection, it's really the river of life, and they feed into each other. It's all the fluid in your body that's not blood. It's this, and it's very connected to the blood. So you're a tissue system of this beautiful liquid living matrix that hold it's it connected to your nerve system. It's We are so wired for touch and healing. You can touch your own face and create oxytocin, which is the love hormone. So it creates feelings of love, social connection, um, safety, wholeness. People live longer when they're touched. Babies who aren't touched don't develop properly. It's really we are wired for touch and movement. So intention, movement is how we release trauma and all this stagnation and baggage that is weighing us down energetically, physically, emotionally, pain. All this stuff is so connected, and I think through intention, through touch, through the audience of your own awareness, your body can upregulate in a way for your optimal well-being and connect self-connection, and that's that internal glow. It's and the lymphatic system is also, it's your internal cleansing system. Aging is really just a form of dehydration. So I'm seeing people who have fibrotic tissue, more dense, hardening, more, bulkiness in the jaw, a hardening between the eyebrows, a lot of wrinkles, or just sagging in the tissue. And really all it is a backup of fluid, backup of stagnation, and not allowing things to move properly the way they want to, or the way they do naturally in youth. So it's, if you can restore that flow by hydrating tissue in a deeper way through touch, everything becomes more integrated and connected, and movement happens. So even your meridians, according to traditional Chinese medicine, run through your fascia. So it's like a flow. You're a flow system. Everything should move properly. And on a deeper level, trauma and pain and your history really do create blockages in your body. And that's not entirely my specialty. There's people who are all about just emotional release and energetic release
Me.
of yeah. Okay, so yeah, share a little bit about that. How does this play into that? Tell me about it.
Well, for me, it even kind of connects to what you were talking about, because I can feel that sometimes I have, like, I can feel it actually quite often that I have blockages, like on my face, like here, there's an energy block. And then when I'm feeling into it, it usually brings some kind of emotion. And then I'm going back to my childhood trauma that caused me to feel this emotion for the first time. And then it feels lighter. So it's like, I believe that all our energy channels are influenced by the blocks we have. And the blocks are really just suppressed emotions in our body. So if we can unlock it, then we have more flow and we can be more youthful. As you said, we can feel like a teenager. Like, so many people say that I'm 20 years old,
Yeah.
where I'm 30 years old, and and I'm just like feeling like a teenager because I'm so happy and I'm working on my emotional self so much. And that's why I feel like I have so much energy to also give to all my cells to feel young and to actually nourish it in a proper way. And obviously, like, there's more to it, like nutrition or whatever, exercising, yoga, meditation, and so on. But I am totally with you when it comes to like how the touch and the emotional release affects the body, because that's like a big theme. And I feel like there's of course a lot of factors influencing our whole well-being. And that's why the next question that I have to you is the methods for the most effective self-care, because I feel like there's a lot of things out there, but you're a beauty specialist and not beauty only outside but also inside, right? So what are your
Keep
most
it.
effective chosen methods of self-care?
Yeah, I think that the most accessible method, and the number one thing you can do to support your beauty, your whole system, your body, the radiant aging process, the vibrant aging process, is to incorporate self massage. And just massaging your neck and your face and your scalp, that is a full treatment. It is a full body treatment. Really, it is. It's because you're working with reflex zones on your face that correlate to different organ systems and different musculoskeletal systems, just touching your face. So when you're working on your cheeks, this is very associated with the lungs and grief. I don't know if that resonates for you at all, but that's part of the same. So when you're talking about here, I'm like, well, that's a lung zone. So that's, I would say, incorporating massage. And you can follow, there's so many people doing great massage out there right now. It's becoming more accessible now also through social media. There's great resources. I share a lot of tips on my social. It's probably, that's how we found each other. But allowing that jaw tension to ease and soften, and as you're working on your jaw, think about the words that you've maybe held back that need to be liberated and said and shared. So have some awareness and some reverence when you're touching your face, and trying to do it from a nurturing perspective versus a heavily corrective perspective. Like, oh, my jaw is bulky and tight and I'm going to dig in there. No, it's actually the lighter touch from an energetic perspective and a nervous system perspective is actually way more effective at releasing tension because the body feels safe. So I think
Mhm.
touching your own face, massaging your own face is the way to create safety, create love and connection, feelings of wholeness, ease tension so that that vital river can actually flow. And also it stimulates collagen, elastin. It's like your body is this internal renewable resource that if by touch and stimulation, you're actually stimulating your fibroblasts to make new genetic material without any trauma, without any harm to your skin. So it's so easy, it's so available. And everyone I talk to who does it, who's been following my methods, feels so much lighter. They feel better. They feel the love and connection from their own hands. So I think it's just miraculous.
And it's beautiful when you can incorporate some beautiful feelings towards yourself to the massage as well, because your fingers are beaming with energy. Like you have beams of energy from your fingers. So if you can like really love, and you can spread this love throughout your hands and then into your body, into your face and your head, that's probably very, very powerful. And so I have a question. So when you're massaging your scalp or your face, does it have to be quite strong, or could it be just like a gentle touch because you're already influencing yourself with the energy that you're creating?
Oh yeah, I actually recommend you to go lighter than deeper, because when you start to push in deeper, like let's say you work on your jaw and or on your masseter muscle and you start to feel tension, the impulse, the human ego impulse is to dig in deeper to try to work it out. But your body's like, whoa, 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 I'm tight for a reason. I'm keeping your body safe. I'm supporting your cervical spine. I'm doing something, you know, everything in your body is tight for a reason. So if you can actually approach yourself with more curiosity and gentility and moving slowly and thoughtfully, the body will start to unwind for you. And I'm learning this because when I've worked with hundreds of people now working on their face, and the lighter I go, the more effective the sessions are, because the body feels safe, and then it goes through its own order of operations of what it's ready to release safely. So
Mm.
that's why I think lighter is better, and with more intention. You know, that's the other thing you can do. You can actually put your hand on yourself and with your intention travel through the layers of your tissue down to the bone and feel the impact. It's really more about intention, but it takes a lot of discipline to pull back.
Just trying it out for a moment.
Yeah, well, you know, you could do a little exercise. You can put your hand on your chest and you can just feel the different layers. You can glide your decolletage back and forth. It's not a gliding motion, it's more of a drag, and you can feel that matrix of connective tissue. You can feel it. It might even start to pull around the back of your body. It's all very connected. And when just by doing this, you're hydrating the layers and allowing it all to slide and glide more, and you can feel the different layers. And if you can sink in a little deeper with your intention and feel the muscle, and it takes practice, but you don't have to dig deep to connect with muscle or to connect with deeper layers. It's really, your hands are loaded with negative ions. Like, they're just very powerful tools. They're an extension of your heart chakra. So touch is so regulating for, it's the most healing tool you have is your touch.
That's so beautiful. And so, what are other
Isn't it?
methods that you're using apart from massage and touching yourself? Are there any other self care methods that you found the most effective?
I do a lot of things. Let me think about, like, I have a lot of self-care. I mean, I have a lot of different practices. I think there's so many. From, do you want the physical? Do you want the spiritual? Like, what do you think would be most beneficial for me to share with your audience?
Wow, both. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I think massaging your face with intention just when you're cleansing at night, or when you're putting your oil on after you cleanse, or just incorporating it lightly. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. I do like other things for the face. I love facial gua sha, just very gently. It's an energetic system, but it's also a mechanical system to rejuvenate your skin. And you're also working and interacting with different meridians in the body. So it's also very balancing to your system. I love facial reflexology. If you can get a resource to learn from that. I'm really a big fan of fascial care. So fascial care is very multifaceted, but getting a very soft foam body roller and foam rolling your body. There's some great resources for that, just for a whole system, because your face and your neck and your posture and your facial posture and your carriage, um, aging is very, your body alignment has a lot to do with it. So it's not, you don't just like age from here up. This is not disconnected from everything else. It's usually from the forward shoulder rolling, and then the head pitching forward, and then everything getting tight and short. And a third of your lymphatic fluid drains here. So if you can learn to keep your shoulders back, practice good posture, and keeping your head on your neck, good alignment, that will completely transform the way your body interacts with gravity. That's why I like to do things that keep your body really loose and gliding and sliding. So fascial care. So dry brushing will lightly hydrate your fascia and move your lymphatic fluid. Soft foam rolling, non-linear movements. If you can just start to allow your body to unwind itself, if you sit still and then follow the current of where you want to go, that's a really nice way to sort of get out of our patterns of forward backward movements. I like how you're starting to do it. It's good.
Mhm. Of course, I need
Gentle
to try
walking,
if
gentle
it's true.
deep breathing. No, it's true. It's true. I have a lot of resources on my
I
Instagram,
can
but
feel it. I can feel it.
deep
I'm just
breathing.
kidding.
Yeah. No, no, it's true. It's true. Like slow, gentle, consistent movement in your body. Think of your body as a flow system, keeping everything moving and hydrating. A moving hinge never rusts. A flowing river never goes stagnant. Your body is the same way. It needs oxygen and nutrients, and to keep your cell bath, your lymphatic fluid, well, your interstitial fluid that turns into lymphatic fluid when it enters your lymph. It's the internal cleansing and nourishment system for your body. So it's just vital to keep everything flowing and moving for health and wellness. That's really my main focus for my self-care. And the deep breathing with the meditation and stimulating your vagus nerve, and that actually propels lymphatic fluid through your body as well, deep breathing. So touch
Mm.
yourself, move your body, deep breathe, try to avoid stress and tension and hardening and rigidity. That's really like that's when things start to come.
Beautiful. And of course, eat healthy and sleep well, and all these other cliches that are really important too, right? To sustain your body in a good way. What about the people who are actually struggling to love their body and actually are like not really enjoying what they see, or maybe they don't like their own posture, maybe they just don't make space for their self care because they don't feel like they deserve it, or whatever. Like, what would you say to them? What is your biggest advice? Like, how to develop the love towards your own body?
Yeah. Oh, wow. What an amazing question. And that sort of brings me back to, what got me into this work was stemming from fear and some rejection of my natural self. And so I really do understand the depths of feeling disconnected from yourself, or rejecting yourself, or not having autonomy in how you feel. I think sometimes we're responding to about our body and ourself, by comparing that to others' image of us, and not actually who we really are and who we actually are. So I think if you're struggling with self-love, start with some respect and just having some gratitude, like the miraculous event that you are actually in a body on this planet. You have purpose. There's something innately beautiful about that. It's like there's something so, like, you are an irreplaceable being of light and water in this time and space. It's really it's if you can have some reverence for the fact that you have a body and shift to gratitude, love follows. But it's a hard step. It's a hard first step to make, and we all struggle with it. I've had body image issues for whatever reason, different variants, fixated on my weight, fixated on this and that my entire life, because frankly the women in my family and my immediate circles were always very hypercritical. Either people were judging my body for developing super hard and fast when I was young, to making me feel really, I felt very unsafe and very deregulated by the changes that were happening in the intensity of the male gaze of people who were much older than me. I mean, I was a very stacked 13-year-old. It was like way overwhelming. It was not ready for all of it. And it was so returning to some gratitude. And I think that the scar journey for me too, and the breast journey, and actually reclaiming my breast. So I actually got implants 6 years ago, and I had so much shadow around not being natural enough or not being satisfied or this or that. But it was a way for me to sort of reclaim where I was with what I can do at that moment, and having some grace and some reverence for yourself for like making some like very difficult decisions at any different time. It's like it makes you see your scars as part of you and integrate them into your being versus this perpetual self-rejection. So for people who are really suffering with either body image issues or weight issue, perception of weight issues, not actual, like, it's more about how we feel about our bodies. It's more about how we feel. And so I would question you to, or have you question, how do I feel about my body if I was living in a way that completely supported my well-being? If I was living exactly the way I wanted, honoring myself exactly the way I wanted, would I care that whatever I think is wrong, like whatever you think is wrong with you now, or not perfect or not good enough, would you still feel that way if you were completely in alignment with your soul's purpose? Like, would it even matter to you, or would you just completely have reverence for yourself and feel like everything is correct in the way it should be? That's sort of like my prompt for you to think about if someone is in the middle of a struggle, and we all struggle, and that's part of what brings us closer to ourselves. And we spend so much time and energy not feeling like we're enough, and I just want to save people the years that I've spent doing that.
Mm, yeah, I can relate to that as well because I used to have, I don't know, body image issues where I would feel like I'm too fat or I'm too this or I'm too ugly or whatever else, right? As a teenager, that's, I feel like most teenagers go through this period, and then it took me years to get out of it. But honestly, like, I feel like the more connected to myself I am on like a soul level, on a higher self level, the less it matters how I look because I can feel myself so much and I can feel good and I can feel healthy and I can feel beautiful. I can feel the feelings. So then how it looks, it's like a secondary thing. Of course, I'm all about beauty too, and I love beautiful things. I'm a very visual person and I love seeing beautiful things. But I just really feel like it's about how you feel. So if you change the feeling, then first of all, your body will follow because mind over matter. We know that our positive emotions and our visions of ourselves literally recreate ourselves. So we can completely change what kind of DNA blueprint is exposed, right? Is active. So we are literally creating ourselves. But also, yeah, the more we can really see ourselves as beautiful in whichever way, I feel like we can go from a completely shit body image to just noticing good things about our body and then more good things and then just refocusing more positively about ourselves, and then this wave of positive emotion is going to bring us to more and more of it, because through the reprogramming of our brain we're going to focus more and more on what's amazing about us, and then we're going to really just, it will slip our awareness, the things that are, let's say, imperfect, quote unquote, because it's not, no such thing. Either everything is perfect or everything is imperfect. It's like, what the hell, what does perfection even mean? Like, it's, it's very
I
subjective.
know.
Like, perfection, what does it even mean?
Yeah.
So we then kind of accept the quote unquote imperfect things when we are really focused positively. And I feel like also for me on my journey, at least, self-love has helped me to then attract people to my life then that really appreciated me for who I am and really appreciated my body as well. And then through feeling how they feel when they look at my body, it's like, wow, like, the guy that I was dating recently, he appreciated my body so much. Then I was like, wow, is it even possible to appreciate it so much? Is it possible to feel so deeply how amazing my body is? Like, literally, even like the bones of my rib cage or whatever. And I'm just thinking, I've never even thought about appreciating the bones of my rib cage. It's like, I've never even like looked at it in this way. So I feel like the more self-love you have towards your body and yourself in general, then the more people you attract to your life that really appreciate you, and this can also help you build this new identity, this new energy within yourself. Because now that when I look at my rib cage, I'm like, yeah, it's freaking beautiful rib cage. And it's a random example, but you know what I mean? I get this perspective now that it
Yes.
can be seen like this, whereas before I would not even like think of, or it wouldn't even come to my mind to even look at it in this way. So I feel like it can be helpful to surround yourself with people who really appreciate how you look and your body, and just really make you, yeah, feel more beautiful ultimately.
Oh, yeah. So what you're saying is so important because what you're talking about is that energetic projection of beauty. So there's this thing about how you feel about yourself colors how other people feel about you. And that's, it's never about them, but the fact that it's cultivating this circle of reinforcement. Like, you, because your self-worth has increased about your body and your, and how you feel, like, you, I believe that you get to define what's beautiful. That's a really important aspect too. So once you start defining what you think is beautiful, once I said, like, no, my scars are part of my journey, they're beautiful, I love them, they've made me who I am, it's just part of my body, and I'm super hot. Like, if I, once I started to like think that way, everybody around me thought that way, and no one even noticed the flaw that I was fixated on in a dark place for years. And so you attracting a partner who worships your body could only happen because you were worshiping your body, and then you're like, you know what, my rib cage is gorgeous. And so there's this circle of good that starts, and then reinforcement, to the point where someone who, if there's ever an off-color comment or an insult, it'll be laughable because it's not your reality anymore. It's so your confidence is coming from an internal place. External validation will never make you feel. It's never going to fill you. You know, it's got to come from within. So I think that part of beauty alchemy, to like tie it in a bow, is really deciding what you want to define is beautiful, and you get to decide. That's what's so cool about it, is that it really is your own sense of self and your own energetic projection. And then if you bring that into your self-care, into your facial touch, into your energetic focus, your meditation, that it begins to become exactly who you are. And then you're more light than matter, and it's this untouchable power of self-love and beauty. It's a magical thing to experience.
Yeah, that's so beautifully put. Thank you so much. And one thing came to my mind as we were talking as well. This one thing that I read in one of the books of my number one spiritual mentor, Teal Swan. She's like my absolute number one leader. And she was writing about, specifically because this was a book, I think, Shadows Before Dawn, about self love. And also, she was touching upon loving yourself and your body. And she gave this example of cellulite, where she was like, okay, if you have cellulite and you are resisting yourself for that, right? Or you're resisting your cellulite, it's like, how can you actually find the good things about it? Because when you have less resistance, then you can have more love. You can be focused more positively and have more appreciation for yourself. So she was saying, okay, find the examples of why this could be actually a good thing. So for example, if I have cellulite, then the partner that I'm going to attract is going to like, it's going to be like clear to me whether someone really values and loves me for who I am, or whether someone just looks at my looks. Right? And so it's kind of like a point where I can be like, okay, I'm going to attract only the people who actually see me for who I am and who actually value my inner self, my essence, not how I look specifically. Or, this helps me to, I don't know, notice things about, like, whatever example you can come up with, like, to just focus positively, to see, okay, I have cellulite, or I have this, I have the scar, I have this or that. What kind of positive outcomes in your life does it bring for you? Because there is probably a lot. And if you can make a list of them and really focus positively on this scar, or on this cellulite, or on this whatever else, you're going to release resistance towards this thing, which is going to help you move towards self-appreciation and, bigger self-worth, and all these beautiful things. So I just wanted to share this little exercise, let's say, to do, because you can find the good thing about literally everything, and in the same way that you can find a bad thing about some good things that happen in your life, right? And so, yeah, it's just something that I felt called to share.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, and what you're saying too. And the thing about cellulite and scars and all this stuff, nobody actually cares. Like, if you really think, like, I feel like it's so rare that actually, like, it actually inhibits your dating life, or inhibits who you attract, or is going to prevent you from meeting the right person or something. Like, it's not true. And cellulite is actually fascinating because it's actually not a thing. It's tight. It's restricted fascia. So your connective tissue is a matrix, and when that gets tight and restricted from like sitting too much, or lack of hydration, lack of flow in the system, the cellulite becomes more apparent. But it's like, the other thing that's such a difficult and interesting line to walk is, how do we allow ourselves to self improve and change things, self improve, change things from a place of self love and acceptance, versus, rejection and hate, or not hate, might be a strong word, but like really disdain. If you really, I hear people say it so much, I hate my cellulite. Well, cellulite is not a thing. It's just it's a fluctuating thing. It's a current condition of your body, because you are tight, restricted. You're not moving the way you might want to naturally, and it's totally. There's many techniques for cellulite that you can absolutely improve the appearance and the flow and the circulation to your skin and to your get everything moving. Um, but it's like how do we walk this line of allowing ourselves to shed layers that are maybe not your true self, that might be uh, affecting your appearance. Like if I don't think you need to always accept everything if there's an improvable aspect, but how do we, and I want to know your opinion on this, like how do we walk this line between reverence for what is and being also okay with allowing ourselves to improve, but totally fine with what is as well, and like love them both equally. Like how do you navigate that spectrum of the beauty experience?
Yeah, so I feel like actually the first step is always coming to acceptance, and whether it means you need to go through some emotions of rejection and sadness and frustration and anger and whatever the layers of emotions are, I feel like you need to release them so that then you can come to accept. Because, and it doesn't mean accepting means doing nothing about it, because if you feel like it's still not aligned for you to have, for example, cellulite, or to be a little bit obese or whatever else it is, if you don't feel like it's in alignment with your soul, then you need to change it, right? But you don't have to come from a place of like, oh, I hate myself, that's why I need to change, because then you're going to come from a place of resistance and actually ultimately fear, maybe fear of rejection, fear of whatever else, is like you're pushing against something. So it's not the good intention to do anything in life. So if you're doing from the intention, or for example, if you fast with the intention because I want to get skinny, you're not going to get all these spiritual beautiful benefits that fasting brings, and you might even actually harm yourself, right? Because then your intention might be coming from fear, like, oh, okay, I'm too fat, so now I have to fast, so now, oh my god, I'm so tense about it all, I have to do this because otherwise whatever. But if you actually like okay with what is, but still prefer the other reality, that's a completely different intention, because you're coming from love, you're coming from acceptance, you're coming like of, okay, I would really love to have a different reality now, but not from a place of, oh, I hate this right now, what happens. It's from a place of, oh, okay, I accept it and it's perfect as it is, and I still choose to change it because I feel like I'm gonna feel better, I'm gonna feel more aligned with my higher self, I'm gonna feel more aligned with what my heart tells me to do. And ultimately you're going to feel it, you're going to feel if you need to change something about yourself or not, because your body will talk to you if you just connect to it. If you connect to your body, if you connect to your heart, if you connect to your soul, to your intuition, you're going to know, you're going to feel whether it's something that you should change or whether it's something that is okay as it is and you don't need to do anything about it. So yeah, I feel like releasing all these layers of emotions and coming to acceptance, and from there you can really clearly see, because only from acceptance you can clearly see, because otherwise your mind is just, driving you in all these different directions, but you don't have clarity. So first, just, release all the fears, release all the resistance, and then from the place of acceptance you can decide whether it's time to change something about this or not. That's my perspective.
Oh, I love, thank you for sharing that. I love that. You really made me think about it's what are you resisting, right? It's like I feel like all pain comes from resisting something and not being able to stay in relationship to what is. So when you can start to become in a co-creation, as from a state of co-creation and relationship to what is, and reverence for what is, and neutrality, then you can actually start to make some changes. Like, the other thing about massage and opening up your body, it's amazing for your health. So there's so many factors. Health and beauty, it's a slippery slope to match them on the same coin, but it's true, they really do. That natural radiance and glow that we associate with beauty is also part of what's a reflection of your health in many ways. And that's not to say that if you aren't in good health right now that you aren't beautiful. So I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. It's just part of naturally supporting your process of being in a human body, is supporting yourself in ways that also tend to have a halo effect of beauty. And I think having a perspective of self-care and self-love is also beautiful. So being someone who takes care of themselves for an internal reason is also a very beautiful and very magnetic, powerful presence.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty is really subjective. And I always laugh at it because it's like sometimes,
Yeah.
I was in the past, I was watching like Miss Poland or Miss whatever. And I'm just thinking, these people that they chose are not the people that I would choose, or like fashion. Like some people are experts of fashion, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, I would never wear it in my entire life. So beauty is really such a subjective
Right.
thing that you'll always find someone who will think that you're beautiful, and you'll always find someone who will think that you're not that beautiful because there is someone more beautiful, and it's okay because everyone is different. And so I'm okay with being perceived in as more or less beautiful because it's like all subjective anyway. So it's the most important that you love yourself and you think that you're beautiful because you're going to be with yourself for your whole life. So it's the most important that you feel beautiful inside, and also you take care of your body so that you can feel beautiful on the outside as well. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Oh man, you're like taking I'm like teeing it up and you're just taking it home like every single point is, and you're right, beauty is so subjective and external validation is always going to change. Like you might walk into a room and feel like the most beautiful person, and then you see someone who you perceive as more beautiful than you, then all of a sudden your self-confidence shatters. So you can't be that fragile. It's like it and you honestly you deserve better. You deserve to feel like the most beautiful person in the world to yourself because you are you. That's your superpower. So it's really it's a total practice in seeing yourself and also not being so hung up on external appearances, appreciating them, loving the beauty, seeing the beauty in everything, plants, animals, the environment, people who you love, just seeing the beauty everywhere will also, I think, permeates that into your system too. So not only focusing on your own appearance or your own self, just seeing yourself as part of a greater beautiful aspect of the universe is really that's the beauty way, I think.
Yeah, and to that, I would like to add that if you think that you're the most beautiful in the world, it doesn't mean that other people are not the most beautiful in the world. Because I feel like some people when say the most, it means one. It's like, no, there could be like hundreds of the most beautiful people in the world or thousands, and that's okay. And like I think that the people have this idea of like the most is just singular, but I don't think so. So we can all be the most beautiful people for ourselves in the world, while simultaneously other people can be also the most beautiful. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important to say. And so I have one last quick question to you. If someone really vibes with your energy, would like to find you and see what you're about, see your content and so on, what's the best way to contact you?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. You can find me on Instagram. That's where I do all my communicating with the world, at Krista Buccari, and that's where you find tips and everything. You can talk with me, and we can do communications, and you can go through my workshops and just get deeper into this work too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I feel like I just am so energized by this conversation because it was so nice and
Me
so beautiful. And your
too.
energy is so beautiful as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that you came on our podcast.
Oh
It's really a
yeah.
pleasure.
No, it's my joy. And I just want to highlight something that you just said about how we can all be the most beautiful person in the world. I think it's so magical. It's like witnessing other beauty makes you more beautiful too, because you can recognize it. Because you are beauty is why you can recognize it in others. And it's not about separation, it's about connection. So thank you for
Yes.
really
Oh,
vibing with me today. I loved this conversation.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to us today. And I want to remind you that you are beautiful just as you are. You are beautiful. So find your beauty because it's really there. Everyone is beautiful. And if you'd like to find me, I'm the Connection Catalyst on Instagram. And if you'd like to find the SoulFam podcast, it's We Are SoulFam on Instagram too. So thank you so much again for tuning in and stay tuned to the next episode.